Welcome to this special edition for the BMW Hong Kong Derby coming up right here at Sha Tin on Sunday. The life-changing race and the race that everybody, owners, trainers and jockeys in Hong Kong, they want to win.
It's the one all the owners want to win, right? It's the one that they probably place more importance on. It's not our biggest prize money race, but as far as the prestige and the accolades that go with it, it's probably the one that stands out.
Luger just in front, Burton relentless here, and he gets Luger home in the Derby.
Look, there's a lot of big races in Hong Kong, you know, some with more prize money, but this race on the calendar, it's a race that the owners really look forward to, and it's a race everybody wants to win. So it's you know, I think it's a race that is very exciting and normally produces a lot of very good top quality horses that go on with it.
Sky Darcy needs the post. Russian Emperor running out of time. It's Joe and Sky Darcy for the Derby.
It's an unbelievable feeling. It's like being on cloud nine. There's a lot of preparation, a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations in the lead up to the Derby, and when you can eventually cross the line in front, it's probably one of the dreams come true from a jockey's perspective.
The odds-on favourite, Akeed Mafid, will prevail in the Derby. Akeed Mafid wins at 3/4 of a length.
Basically, it's career changing. You know, I was lucky enough to win it in my first year, and you know, it just opens up so much. You know, you're able to buy better horses and get top type of owners who are prepared to, you know, invest in the game.
The favourite draws clear. Let Me Handle It goes to third. But what a great season Ambitious Dragon's having, and there's Derby Glory.
Well, it's a great feeling. It is you know, it's not the biggest race here in Hong Kong, but it's certainly the most renowned and most prestigious. So it's got a lot of meaning, and you know, you can really feel that in the community. To win the Hong Kong Derby really made me feel as though I'd made it on the international stage.
Ferrari broke clear from Dark Dream, Sunny Speed and White Cuckoo. Ferrari's got the Derby parcelled up.
Certainly a feeling inside that's very, very special, and hopefully I can feel it one more time.
And for that to happen for Hugh Bowman, he's going to have to partner Sword Point to Victory for Frankie Law, and he's one of two horses in the race for Frankie, the other being horse number 1, Keefe for Derek Long. Beauty Eternal and Super Sunny Sing, the two horses touted as the ones to beat horses 2 and 3. Classic Mile winner is Voyage Bubble for Alexi Bedell. Tuchel, the second of the John Sires runners, Ryan Moore in town. Damien Lane's here to ride Galaxy Witness. Atala Beguile's on the quick backup. Flagship Warrior is the first of the David Hayes pair. Straight Aaron now with Casper Founds, Blake Shin to ride, and Bonza Perla doing it for the girls. Wears blinkers for the first time. It's Noel Hewitson and David Hayes. But delighted to welcome our special guest onto this Derby preview on Hong Kong Direct. It is the jockey of Super Sunny Sing, Vincent Ho. Vincent, thanks for joining us. Let's go back to 2020, Golden 60. Is this your best chance of winning the Derby since then?
Yeah, I think so. You know, Golden 60 went well, of course. Also Barrier 9 and Super Sunny Sing now, also Barrier 9. You know, he won a Classic Cup, you know, very nicely. So I think he had a good chance, for sure.
Are you a bit superstitious like that? You've said Golden 60s in 9,
no,
Super Sunny Sing's 9?
Not really, but whatever draw it is, I told Chris, doesn't matter what draw we get, you know, this horse that got ability, and he relaxed well in the race, and 2000 have no problem for him. So I think still, you know, whatever draw we get, we still have good chance.
You're unbeaten on the horse. You've ridden him, I think, 3 times for 3 wins. When you jumped on him the first time, did you think this could be my Derby horse this year?
Yeah, you know, when I told the press when he won at the 1400, you know, when I pull out and he gave me a turn of foot, like, you know, have a little bit of feeling of Golden 60 when he was younger. Hopefully, you know, if Super Sunny Singh keep improving, he'll be even much better horse.
You mentioned that you're stepping up to the 2000. Distance is the query for so many of these. You've got no doubt that your guy's going to run a strong 2000 metres.
Yeah, no doubt for that. You know, I have a good feeling that he can handle 2000 no problem. You know, since the mile, you know, and pretty sure he can handle 2000.
Beauty Eternal is being talked about as the next superstar of Hong Kong racing, potentially. How do you hatch a plan to try and beat him in a race like this, knowing there's another 12 runners as well you've got to worry about?
Yeah, no, just do my own thing, you know. Of course, there's few great chances in the race, you know. Of course, Beauty Eternal, it's one of the really good horse. He looks very decent for his previous winners, and you know, definitely a main danger. But you know, let's see from him stepping up 16 to 2000. But I think is still one of the main danger for sure. But that's you know, at least a couple more.
Hong Kong runs so many good races over the course of a season. What is it about the Derby that everybody wants to win it?
I think the Derby had a really long history throughout Hong Kong racing, and you know, the Derby is only once a lifetime for 4 years old horses. That, you know, the one, you know, exclude the sprinter, probably the future star will be within the Derby top horses.
All right, we'll talk more to Vincent very, very soon, but we need to hear from our man Nick Child, who has the all-important barrier draw and speed map for this year's BMW Hong Kong Derby.
Yes, well, thank you, Mark. And well, this Derby, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That is one thing for sure. And the start is going to be all crucial. There's a very short run into the first turn over 2,000 metres at Sha Tin. So let's take a look and see where these horses will settle. And once the gates have been released, I think all the focus is going to be, as it has been throughout, on a certain Beauty Eternal. Now, he's drawn gate number 7. And I think Zach might just take back with him in this race, because if he does decide to press forward, he might well be caught deep with plenty of speed underneath him. Talking of speed, well, Encountered is a horse that's shown plenty of dash. Now, he's drawn in gate number 8. I reckon he might go forward and help ensure the pace with Voyage Bubble, who made all the running to win the mile. So he might well be a bit more prominent than perhaps he may settle to some. Bonza Perla is an interesting runner. Now, she's a mare, and mares have won this race down through the years. She's got blinkers on first time, drawn 4. She'll be down on the inside. They might well ride her a little bit positive in this race. One man that I think will be riding his mount positive and certainly getting a nice trail is Vincent Ho. Now, he's on Super Sunny Singh, and I think he can put a target on the back of Zach Purton, given that he's only drawn a couple of doors down from Beauty Eternal, and he's a horse who travels extremely well. So I think Vincent's certainly got options with him to settle nicely and follow the likely favourite. So that is where they might well find themselves shortly after the break. As we take a look at starting stalls for the history of the 2,000 metres at Sha Tin on the A course, obviously the success certainly coming from gates 1 to 8. They are the most successful in a race like this over this trip. But 12 is a little bit of an outlier here. 2 Derby winners in the last 10 years have come from gate number 12, Fiore and also Luger. So it certainly is possible, and Altala Begil drawn in that outside gate this time around. So a fascinating race in prospect. The start is going to be very important, where they're drawn is going to play their part, and certainly can't wait to see it all play out this Sunday with the BMW Hong Kong Derby.
Thanks, Nick. So that's a look at the barrier draw and the speed map. You've already sort of answered this question, Vincent, but you said barrier number 9, it didn't change too much.
Yeah, basically wherever is comfortable. You know, it normally jump good, and he relax well during the race. So just keep doing that and be aware of what's good horses in front of me. Some good horses are outside me. You know, 1 or 2 are behind me. You know, just do my own thing and see how the race pace pan out.
And it'd be a massive result for Chris So as well, wouldn't it, if he was to win the Derby?
Yeah, of course. You know, definitely would love to, you know, get a winner in a derby or future Group 1 for Chris, definitely.
Vincent, thanks so much for your time on Hong Kong Direct. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you so much.
There he is, Vincent Ho, joining us ahead of Super Sunny Singh's run in the Derby. We're going to take a break here at Hong Kong Direct, back to hear from the trainer of the favourite, John Size, Red Beauty Eternal, and Sam Agars from the South China Morning Post. He joins us as well. Welcome back to the Derby special. Of course, it's not just the Derby coming up on Sunday. We have the best sprinters in Hong Kong lining up in the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup.
Hong Kong's best sprinter, he's not giving up this crown. Wellington beat Lucky Swainest. Brilliant. California Spangle beat Golden 60. Lucky Swainest took over in the Centenary Sprint Cup. This is the real Wellington. He's now a dual Group 1 winner. California Spangle going to sparkle at his racetrack return. The chess master, that is Purden, tactically brilliant.
Joined by another special guest now for part 2. It is Sam Agars, the racing editor from the South China Morning Post. And Sam, we heard from Vincent before the break. Thanks for joining us first of all.
Thanks for having me.
What did you make of Vincent's interview and his chances around Super Sunny Singh?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, Mark? I mean, a few people have said that they're questioning Super Sunny Singh, whether he'll get that trip, and Vincent doesn't seem to be concerned at all.
He was definitely going to run a strong 2,000 metres. He was good at the end of the Classic Cup, wasn't he?
He was. I mean, he hasn't done anything wrong. He couldn't have done any more, in fact, and that was a huge win. And look, it'd just be a great story in general if the horse could win for Chris So and the Wong family, who have a rich Derby history as well.
They do indeed. You're sticking around until the end of the show, but we need to hear from the trainer of the big gun. He's the horse being talked about as the one to beat. He is, of course, Beauty Eternal. John Size represented not just by him, but by Sweden Carter and Tuchel. But the name Beauty Eternal is the one on everyone's lips.
Purden's keeping a watchful eye on them. It's Beauty Eternal 2 in front of Alls for St Paul's, who's come again. California 10, but Beauty Eternal, you can book your tickets for March 19. We'll see you on Derby Day.
I think like he's typical of a good horse, we say, because he's got the good temperament, he's got a good attitude, he's always in a pretty good mood, he's very easy to get on with, mostly compliant. So normally good horses have a lot of the attributes that you look for in a racehorse, and he's no exception. He's a good horse with a good horse's demeanour.
Beauty Eternal is speeding away. Solar wins through the centre. He is one serious galloper. Beauty Eternal beats Solar wins. King's Capital's got a massive race.
I think he's had a limited preparation. He hasn't had a perfect preparation, but it's enough to go there, and it's probably enough to win if he's the quality horse that we hope he is. So that's his disadvantage going into the race. He hasn't had time or preparation to get ready for it, but he might get away with it. You never know. If anyone thinks they got a secret, they're kidding themselves. Like the world has changed a lot in the last 20 years, and I think everyone knows what I do, and there's no secrets at all. But probably other people might tell you that I'm patient. Is probably one of the things that helps me get through it, and I sort of take my time trying to educate the horses and place them. But apart from that, I don't think there's much in the way of secrets for me winning races. I understand that I can win a race, but a lot of trainers in Hong Kong now, they're sort of coming along in the same vein, and the competition is getting stronger and stronger all the time.
Sam, a very humble John Size there. You deal with John a lot through your job as the racing reporter. he really does like to let his horses do the talking, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He's not one to give away more than he has to, John, and when you're as good as him, I think letting your results speak for yourself's probably the way to go.
Absolutely. Now, he's having another great season as he looks for another trainer's title here. Beauty Eternal's trying to give him another Derby. We've seen it so often from John, an unorthodox path to get to Sunday.
Exactly right. I mean, this horse is the talk of the town, and perhaps if he was trained by anyone else, there might be questions around how he's made his way to the Derby and whether he can run that trip, but there's very little reason to doubt that he can and that he can win on the weekend.
Have you seen anything apart from some bad luck to begin his career here, where he is vulnerable, apart maybe from the distance?
Well, look, I don't really think so. I mean, he hasn't done anything wrong on the way through. The way he's been winning, Zach's not talking a lot about the horse, as we know, but you can see that he's confident. You can see that he knows he's got a good horse. So it's really hard to question this horse at the moment, yeah.
The scary thing too is we haven't seen Zach cutting loose yet.
No, we haven't. And on the weekend, he's going to probably be a little bit further back than perhaps he has been in some of his races. So Zach's going to need to ask him at some point. It's going to be really good to see what he can do.
Let's talk about a couple of others in the race. We'll start with John's pair. Tuchel, Ryan Moore's coming to ride. He's beautifully drawn as well.
He is. I mean, he's just going to get that perfect run you would imagine on the inside, on the tail of the leaders. And when you've got a man like Ryan Moore in the saddle, I bought a horse that's shown he's very capable already in the 4-year-old series. Yeah, there's plenty of potential for Tuchel, no doubt about that.
What about Sweet Encounter? He looks so promising heading towards the 4-year-old series, but he hasn't come out the other side all that well.
No, and I mean, he's a horse that probably didn't get things to suit, especially in a classic mile. But again, he's trained by John Size, so you can't completely discount him, but I think he might be a little bit off the best in this race.
Sam, of the others, moving on from John's runners now. Casper Founds with 2 in the race. Firstly, Straight Aaron, instant success for the stable.
Absolutely, and look, he had a bit of trouble in the straight last start, and the way he hit the line certainly suggests that he's going to be a big player come Sunday, and he's also got Galaxy Witness in the race.
He has Damien Lane takes over, unfortunately no Jamie Carr. He's been running off really well, or running home really well in the 4-year-old series.
He has been, he's been closing, and look, I guess there's a little bit of a question mark over the trip for this horse, but if he is finishing like that over this little bit further distance, who knows how well he can run.
Then we've got Atala Begil. He's coming after having raced last weekend.
Yeah, he is, and as a few people have said, it's an unorthodox path to the Derby, but David Hall, his trainer, was effusive of how happy he is with how the horse is going after that run, and look, he brings that little bit of X factor, I suppose.
Couple more to touch on before we move on. Voyage Bubble, no luck with the barrier draw, great run in the Classic Mile. He's going to need all the luck in the world, isn't he?
He is. He's going to need to get it his own way. He's going to have to work from barrier 14 to get across and take up that lead position that we all assume he will, but the way he compounded late in the Classic Cup, it's hard to see him being a real factor in this race, I think.
Sword Point, what a run in the Classic Cup by him.
It was, and when you think about the Hugh Bowman factor, knows how to win a Hong Kong Derby. This is a horse that's travelling just about as well as anyone heading into the race. It's going to be exciting to see what he can do on the weekend.
He's one of a couple in for Frankie Law-Keefe being the other, but we'll get more from Sam soon, including Sam's tip for the Derby, but right now, here's some news from the other key players.
Straight Aaron in great form, presents well, was a very impressive winner, first up for the stable. Obviously now we're up against some big horses here. We don't know what his true rating is. I think he's very, very progressive, and I think the 2000 won't be a problem for him. But like anything, I think in this race, everyone's fighting for second place. It honestly looks like John Size's horse, Beauty Eternal, just looks to have it at his mercy. He's a proper Group 1 horse. We've seen a lot of good quality horses come through Hong Kong ranks, and this is one that stands out. But at the end of the day, this is racing. Luck plays a big factor, and we'll be there fit and well, and just hoping we can get as much prize money and with a bit of luck get a winning result.
What about Galaxy Witness? Is there a bit of unknown about this horse?
Yeah, look, he's reeled off a couple of good sectionals his last couple of runs. He has been disappointing on face value this season. He won his first 4 out of 5 last year for us. When sort of got hiked up through the ratings, has run with merit on a few occasions this season. Again, he'll need a soft draw, got a good jockey on board, and I'd say he's just on a place line there with a bit of luck.
Yeah, look, he's one of those horses that has always been talented. He's built like a staying horse. He's long and lean and very clean-winded. So it was all about mentally getting him to switch off and getting him to relax before we could sort of work out where he was going to take us. So, very satisfying that he's now made it to the race, and we've got him in that frame of mind where we can see, how high he can jump now.
Flagship Warrior last time managed to overcome a bad barrier to run very well. Were you very happy with his run, given the barrier that he had to have?
I think he would have fought out the finish if he drew a better barrier. His weakness is he has a tendency to over-race, so in that race we didn't want to ride for a position, so we just switched him off and let him run home. And I think he ran, if he didn't run the fastest, it was the second fastest sectionals of the race, so it stamped him. I was very happy. I went home very happy after that run.
And what about Bonza Perla? What are your thoughts for her heading into the Derby?
Look, she's drawn bad barriers. Last start she drew better and she just needed the run. But her best form in Australia is with blinkers on, and I've saved that for the grand final. So she's gets the blinkers on, hopefully a nice barrier, and she'll run a good race. She was placed in the best guineas in Australia behind the best horse, narrowly beaten. And I think her best is good enough to run well here.
Sam, we've heard from or talked about just about every horse in the race. Now, no pressure whatsoever. Who are you tipping?
Look, I think as far as who you want to have on top, it's very hard to go past Beauty Eternal, but it's going to be interesting to see what price he comes up on Sunday. And if we're looking outside of that from a betting perspective, maybe Straight Aaron's a horse that could be a bit of a price and could run a race. He was very impressive last start. Blake Shin rides. I think he's the perfect jockey for that horse. He's shown he's that he is willing to show a bit of endeavour in a Derby. Nearly rolled Golden 60 a few years ago aboard Playa del Puente. So I think Straight Aaron is definitely a horse to watch and see what price he comes up.
And Blake comes here in super form in Australia, doesn't he?
He does. He's hardly put a foot wrong since he left Hong Kong. He's looked really comfortable back there. He's winning Group 1s now. He's got his All-Star Mile ride on Alligator Blood on Saturday, so I'm sure he's going to come here full of confidence.
All right, so it is Straight Aaron for Sam Agars from the South China Morning Post. We're going to look at the diary right now, and of course it's all about Sunday. Trackside Live on air from 12:30. We've got the two feature races, the BMW Hong Kong Derby and the Group 1 for the sprinters, the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup as well. Back to Happy Valley on Wednesday night, and then we return to Sha Tin again next weekend. But it's Sunday, that's the focus in it, Sam. What happens in this chapter of the Derby, we wait to see.
We do. There's so many great storylines that can come out of this race, and it's going to be very exciting, whoever wins.
Great to have your company on the Derby special.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Cheers.
And you as well, but it is here at Sha Tin on Sunday for the running of the BMW Hong Kong Derby. Thanks for joining us on this year's Derby special.